friends, what is up and welcome to the vlog. It's going to be a weekend vlog. It is Friday morning. I am normally not one to vlog on the weekends, but I actually have things that I'm going to be doing over the weekend. Yes, I'm going to be working a lot, but I wanted to show you guys what a weekend or like work weekend in my life looks like, because most of it obviously I spend at work. I work Thursday through Sunday. So when you guys have like weekends and stuff, or like other people have weekends, I don't have those. Those happen for me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So yesterday was the start of my work week. I got up early and edited videos. And just tried to like get my week started. I got up at like 9:30 in the morning and I worked till 1 o'clock in the morning. So last night while I was at work, I did read a little bit, and I'll kind of talk to you about what I read. But most of yesterday was just working, and like that was like YouTube stuff, and it was also like, you know, like actual work, like my job. Today I work from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. and then I'm going to what we call Boo at the Zoo here in Columbus, and I'm really excited for that. But I wanted to talk to you about the books that I am reading. So the first book was actually sent to me from Paula, who is my rep at Orbit, her and a woman named Angela. I work with them, both of them. And they sent me Empire of Sand by Tasha Suri. They actually sent me the first one and the second one, and my goal is to read them all back to back to back because I'm really, really liking them. But Empire of Sand is really, really good. It's about a girl whose name is Mehr. It spells M-E-H-R. And she is Amrithi, but she lives in this society where the Amrithi people are kind of like hunted, but her dad is actually not the emperor, but he's like a, I don't know, somebody who works for the emperor, and he kind of like controls the kingdom that they live in. So she is protected. But the Amrithi people are being hunted down because they do rituals and dances to kind of appease what used to be gods that are turned into these creatures that show up occasionally that can wreak havoc, but they tend to be, for the Amrithi people, treated with reverence. But one day there's a woman in town that Mehr knows who is supposed to meet her for this ritual, kind of, that happens very, very like sparingly, and she goes missing. So Mehr goes out to try to find her and gets trapped in basically what is like it's like Starfall, but like magic Starfall that is happening like in the desert, because they're in the desert. This is like an Indian inspired kind of series. The author is Indian. But while she's out there, she is doing this dance to try to get to her friend, and she asks these god demon things to essentially help her find her way. But when she does that, she actually gains the attention of the people, they're called the mystics, that sort of influence the emperor and help him decide things. And she catches his eye basically from across the nation, like across the desert. And so these mystics show up, and she is married to, because she doesn't really have much power because she's technically a bastard because her mom didn't marry her dad. So she's technically a bastard by their standards, but it's really important for women to choose who they want to marry. So when the mystic people ask her to marry another mystic, she doesn't really have a choice. She feels like it's the thing to do, because if not, her sister, who's also technically illegitimate, would be hunted, and she loves her dearly. So she decides to do this to keep the emperor's eye away from her family. And it's really, really cool. Like, the magic is really cool. The only thing that I will say about the story that I'm not liking, and I'm 200 pages in, is I don't have a good sense of the world. I think the world building is really lacking. But if you like characters, if you like magic and fantasy and grit, because there's a lot of that in here, I think you'll like this. And like I said, I'm almost halfway through the book today, and I read it pretty much all day yesterday, and I'm absolutely loving it. The woman who wrote City of Brass is actually one of the people who blurbed it, and that is really, really exciting. The next book that I'm reading, I don't really know a whole lot to say about. I think it's like a Frankenstein-ish retelling, and that would be Middle Game by Shauna McGuire. I finally started reading it. Now, I'm unsure if Shannon goes by they pronouns or she pronouns, because I've seen both. Like when people address them, they say they, but when I've read things about her, it's like her, so I don't know if she goes by both. But this book is, like I said, like a Frankenstein retelling, but the really cool thing about it is it's sort of music based. There's like a quote about music in the front of it, and you learn that there's like this society who's basically taking children and like molding them into what they want to be. But the man who sort of runs that was a creation of someone, basically. But it's really cool. Like it's hard to explain, and I can see why some of the reviews I think were a lot of the reviews were that they were confused, because some of it is kind of confusing. But so far I really like it. I think that it's very interesting. I'm gonna be trying to read a good portion of that today. Friday mornings at work are really busy, but that's going to be it for this update right now. I'm going to take you guys along with me to the zoo later, but I did just want to hop on and start the vlog and say good morning and welcome to a weekend in my life. So the goal today is to get to work and then go to the zoo, and then I'll probably come home and try to edit some stuff before I have to go to bed. I've been going to bed every morning around 1:30ish and getting up at 10. So yeah, that's gonna be the goal for today. So see you guys a little bit later. We're gonna hang out and go to the zoo together. Good morning. It is 9:31. Set my alarm for 9:30 today because normally I get up at 10-ish, but I went to bed really early last night because I was tired. But I want to talk to you about what I read and future plans for what I'm going to be reading. So the first thing, I finished The Empire of Sand. I loved this book. I'm going to give it 4 stars because, like I said yesterday when I first started reading it, the world building isn't great in this book. I feel like there's most of it happens in Mare's empire and like in her city, and I don't really have a good grasp on how all of the other like nations within, or like cities within their nation really work. I will say that most of this book is, I feel like, I don't know, it's like desert. Like a lot of the things that happen in the book happen in the desert. And I know there's not a whole lot that you can do when it comes to world building for that, but I don't understand the nations in this book. I'm hoping, I have the second one, I'm hoping the second one will kind of explain it a little bit better, because Mare isn't just in like her city anymore, and she's not just in like the temple that she ends up going to. But I will say, other than that, this is one of the best books I've read this year. It's definitely a slow book, so if you want like a fast-paced book, I don't think this will be for you. But the characters are really good. The story is really cool. I don't want to give too much away. I think I said pretty much all that I could say about it yesterday without really spoiling it, but I would definitely recommend this. I'm going to let you know what I think of the second one when I read it. I'm going to be reading it probably towards the end of November, or towards the middle of November, but I loved this. I thought the characters were well developed. I thought the magic was well developed. I thought that the like overall like villain of the story was really well developed. I will say the only other thing I didn't like about this is some of the conclusions to things were too abrupt for me. I felt like they were kind of rushed in a way, but not enough to like really lose any kind of points. So I gave it 4 stars. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much of the book because I really, really, really want people to read this. I was actually randomly sent this from Orbit, and I have a rep, I guess, that I work with there. Her name is Paula, and then I can't talk. And there's also a girl named Angela who I work with, a woman named Angela, and they pick such good books for me. Like Paula will just send me books and be like, I think that you'll like this, and I'm like, oh my god, I loved this. Like she reads my mind. So really excited to read the second one of this. But I did actually start a different book yesterday, and that would be The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. I don't know how to say this. This is like the Lycanius trilogy. Can we take a minute to look at this book? Is massive. It's almost 700 pages. Last night I read up to chapter 4, page 39. I've been trying to read before bed. I can't really give you my thoughts on this yet. I don't really know kind of what's happening. There's a character named Davian, and he is part of this, like, I don't want to say like mages essentially, but people who can use essence, but they are kind of struck down during the war because there are these people named augurs, or called augurs, who basically betray the empire that they live in. So the normal people who aren't able to use essence are pretty much afraid of the people who can. And during the war they kill all the augurs, and then the people who are able to use essence are limited to what they're able to do under what they call the tenets, and that is basically what binds them. So they go to these elite schools basically, and if they're not able to pass the test that they're supposed to take at the end, they are turned into what is called shadows. So their ability to use essence is basically taken from them, which makes the people hate them even more, which is really weird because you think they'd be like, oh well, you can't use essence now, so we don't fucking hate you, but they do. Like I said, 39 pages into it, don't really know anything about it yet, but I am excited to read it. You guys saw this was on my TBR a while ago, and the third one comes out soon, and I actually asked Orbit for it, so I do want to read the first 2, just kind of review the series as a whole. Another thing that I'm excited for, next Monday, this Monday that you are seeing this, we are starting a buddy read over on Patreon, and I wanted to put this out here in case people want to join. I thought I would do buddy reads on my Patreon occasionally, and this month, the month of the end of October and all of November, we're reading Nosferatu by Joe Hill. I don't know a whole lot about this. I am trying to avoid spoilers for it because I've never read anything by Joe Hill, but I put up a poll and this is what we voted on. This is like a Halloween-y Christmas kind of book, I guess, and the reason why I chose it, or why I added it to the list and why I'm really excited it got chosen, is because it has Christmas and Halloween themes to it. and while we're reading it in November. We're going to be finishing it the 1st of December, I believe, so if you want to join in on that, you can join over on Patreon. Pretty much anybody who joins, so like if you join like the $1 tier of Patreon, you can read this with us, but if you want to read along just to read along, you can read along with us. We're basically reading it all through the month of November. We just have like chapter breakdowns and stuff over on Patreon, but if you are choosing to read this, you can like message me on Instagram what you're thinking of it. We can just like talk about the book, but I'm really excited because I've had this book for forever and still haven't read it. Right now, however, I don't want to do a separate video for this. I just want to kind of talk about it now because you guys know I've been unboxing Fae Crate on my channel this month, but I got my Fae Crate yesterday and I thought I would show you guys what we got. Just really, really chill because I was excited and I opened it, and like I said, I'm not doing a whole video for it. So let's see here. This month's theme was Break the Wheel. All of these items are Fae Crate exclusives, which is really cool. So the first thing we got is a Strange the Dreamer mouse pad. How cool is that? I just got another mouse pad in my Fae Crate, so that's the one that I'm actually using, but this is really, really awesome. It's got the two main characters whose names off the top of my head, Laszlo, and I can't remember her name. I'm not a fan of this series, duology, but I do like the art and I like the overall story of it. I'm just not like, oh my god, like everybody else is. The next thing we got is the Polaroid. Let's see who, it's the Darkest Minds. And this is what it looks like. If you're a fan of the Darkest Minds, I think this is really cool. I keep these regardless of whether or not I've read the book because I don't know when, if I'll ever read the book, but this is really adorable. You guys know those are my favorite. Next thing we have here is a lip balm, and it is from Mara Chapstick. Treat yourself to frozen berries with the Winter Queen. We love Mara from Snow Like Ashes. The design on this is really pretty. Let's see if I can show you. It's very pretty. I haven't read this series either. It also smells really good. It smells like grape. There's like a monster. There's like a monster that smells like that. I haven't had caffeine in like 2 years, so whatever. The next thing is the coin, which I believe is from Three Dark Crowns. Yeah, Three Dark Crowns collector coin. I want revenge and then I want my crown. Who better to signify a broken system than the fated sisters themselves? This is what it looks like. This one's really pretty. It's like the most unique one I think we've gotten so far. I really, really like it. Another series that I have but haven't read. The next thing is this patch, and this is from Reign the Earth. Learn to be strong like Shalia and know that your true power lies within. Let's see. Oh, don't focus on me, focus on the patch. This is what it looks like. It's very big. I don't know if you can tell, but it's huge. But it is really pretty. I like this because it looks like it has all of the elements, like fire, water. And then we got socks, which I'm really excited about because these actually fit me. I tried them on last night and it's crazy how often socks will not fit me because if you're a girl, or even a boy I guess, I'm a size 11 in women and a size 9 in men. So finding socks that fit me are actually a huge pain in my ass. So these are from Bone Witch. Just because you need to right the wrongs of the world doesn't mean you have to do it with cold feet. I really like that. They're actually really cute. And the other thing that we got here, this is from, it says, "Good night, gentle friend. Mia definitely breaks down the establishment, wouldn't you say?" This is a pillowcase. It's beautiful. I love this design. I'm assuming this is from Nevernight because it said Mia, but I don't really like that series, so I don't know. But this is awesome. I'm definitely going to keep this. I'm going to keep it on my reading chair probably. I need to get an insert for it. It's really easy to fill these though. You can go to like Joann Fabrics and get like stuffing and stuff. That's really cool. The last thing we got is the book. We got a book from an author that I've never read anything from. So the first thing is the Dear Reader letter, and it is adorable. It says let's see, a demoness is what men call a goddess they cannot control. This is really cool. So the book that we got, the author signature is already in here. This unboxing is a mess, I'm sorry. This is why I said we're gonna do it in like a vlog. But we got The Never Tilting World by Rin Chapeko. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm really sorry. This is the first time I've ever come across her name, so we'll try to look up how to pronounce it later. But this book sounds really, really, really cool. So I've heard a few things about it since I unboxed it yesterday, but it says, remarkable in beauty and fearsome in power, generations of twin goddesses have long ruled Aeon, until 17 years ago when one sister's betrayal defied an ancient prophecy and split their world in two. The planet ceased to spin and 3/4 of the world perished. Now a great abyss divides the planet, one side cloaked in perpetual night, the other scorched beneath an unrelenting sun. While one sister rules Aranth, a frozen city surrounded by a storm-racked sea, her twin inhabits the sand-locked golden city. Each goddess has raised a daughter, and each goddess keeps her own secrets about the past. But when spectral forces summon those daughters to the site of the breaking, the two young goddesses, along with the powerful hero from Aranth and a mouthy desert scavenger, set out on separate journeys across treacherous wastelands, desperate to heal their broken world, no matter what the sacrifice it demands. That sounds pretty cool to me. I think I've seen a couple of other people reading this or talking about it, or maybe they're talking about another book that Rin has written, but this is beautiful. Like, did you see this cover? Look at it. I love that. I am so excited to read this. But yeah, that's what I got this month. I love everything that I got. Once again, even though it's from series that I've never read, like, I don't know, it's just really cool. So the pillowcase is probably my favorite thing and the thing that I'm most excited for. The thing that I'm least excited for is the patch, because I don't really use iron-on patches, but you can really, you know, find a use for everything. Like, if you are a fan of that series, you can obviously put it on like a pin board and stuff. Like, you don't have to like put it up for display or like on a jacket or anything like that. But that's going to be it for this update. I am really excited to continue with this today. My goal is to read it over the next couple of days. I finished this in 2 days. I read about 200 pages a day, so I think because I work so much over the next 48 hours, like today I work 11 to 11, and tomorrow I work like 11:45 a.m. to midnight, so I'm going to be at work for basically 24 hours over the next 2 days, so I think that'll give me a lot of time to read this. The only other thing is today is OSU football, so the beginning of my shift might be kind of busy, but we'll make it work. Yeah, that's going to be it for this update. I will see you guys in the next one. Good morning! I am here to close out the vlog. I'm actually halfway through editing the rest of it for the week, but I wanted to talk to you about what I read this week and things that I'm going to be continuing to read this week. Let me get comfortable here. This is a side of my room you never see. Okay, anyway, so I ended up reading and finishing A Shadow of What Was Lost, and this book fucked me up. I read it, I think I read like 300 pages of it on Friday night, and then I read from like 289 to the ending, which is like 690 some pages. I love this book. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. You'll see like more so in depth when I do my what I read this week, which I've been doing weekly on my channel. I've just been wrapping up everything that I read this week. Also, if you notice, I'm wearing the same sweater. I literally live in this sweater now. But anyway, I swear I'm not filming all of this on the same day. But I think the reason why I want to give it 4 stars instead of 5 is it's definitely a slower read. Like, there is a lot that happens, but I think with giant fantasy series like this, things seem a little bit more drawn out in a way. The only other thing about this that kind of threw me off is the characters are around the age of 16 to 18. Like, the main characters, like Davian is 16 years old. And not much time passes in this book. It's usually about, I think it's like over 4 or 5 months maybe, that the entirety of this story does take place. So the characters are very young, but they read incredibly old. Like, they read much, much older, like every single character in this book. There are some older characters in the book that you can definitely distinguish, like, okay, that is a very much so older character, but that did kind of bug me. The only other thing about this book that I didn't like, I was telling my roommate about it last night, is that they let go of a lot of breaths they didn't know they were holding. And I know some people are okay with that and that doesn't bug them. And later on towards the book, James does try to find a different way to say that, but they do say it twice in this book, maybe even 3 times. And every time I read it, it like took me out of the story because it is one of my greatest pet peeves. Find a different way to say it, my dudes. Like, it doesn't need to be like that. But overall, I really like this. I love the magic system. This is one of those books that as I was reading it, I was talking to people about it. I'm like, you can get attached to absolutely no one because so many characters die in this. You can not trust anyone because when I read it on Friday, I was like, oh, I love this character. Oh, fuck, they died. Or, oh, I love this character. They're so awesome. Oh, shit, they're literal garbage. Like, they betrayed everybody. It's one of those books. And the ending of the book, I was so upset and mad at the ending of this book that I wanted to rip the book in half and throw it away because I was just like very, very, very like, I need to know what happens. But overall, I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know why I waited so long to read it because I heard nothing but good things about it. And I posted it on Instagram yesterday and a lot of people were like, oh, I've been wanting to read that, but it's so huge. Another really good thing about this book is though, even though it is more of an epic fantasy, it is very easy to read, almost to the point of too easy, I think. But I'm excited to read the second one. I'm very, very excited to read the second one. I already have the second one. I actually have the hardback. I'm borrowing these from a friend. I am going to buy them eventually because I just absolutely love them. But this is book 2. It's called An Echo of Things to Come. And I'm really excited to see what's to come in this series. But it's just so beautiful so far. The characters, like the 3 main characters, there's Davian, Asha, and Wer, and I think that they are some of my favorite characters I've like experienced in a long time, as well as Caden, who's like essentially Davian, when he figures out eventually that he's an augur. You can kind of pick up on it at the beginning of the book, so it's not really like a spoiler. Caden, however, is a character with no past. Like, he doesn't remember anything, and Davian is given this artifact essentially that is to try to find the person who's going to help him figure out his augur abilities, and it happens to be Caden. And so throughout the story, you're trying to figure out Caden's backstory, you're trying to figure out who characters like really are and like their whole plot and everything, and there's like an epic battle at the end, and it's like the beginning of the end basically for all of our characters, and it's so good, and it's so twisty and turny, and it's touted as like, if you are a fan of the Wheel of Time series, you'll really like this series as well. So if you are a fan of the Wheel of Time series, I am not. I find the Wheel of Time series very long-winded and just, I don't know, it just doesn't interest me. I tried to read the first one and I was like, this is awful. It's very old, and I don't like a whole lot of like the older like fantasy books, unfortunately, like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and all that. I just find them very boring. So if you like the Wheel of Time but you're looking for more, I don't know, I don't want to say modern because obviously it's an epic fantasy, but if you're wanting something, I guess, a little bit more recent, this might be a good choice for you. Definitely very, very good. I will say the other thing about this book that I like is there are relationships hinted at, like somebody kind of getting a crush on someone very briefly, but there's no romance so far in this series, and that's really appealing to me because I think that like natural attraction is addressed in the book, and like especially when it comes to like who certain people are and who they're able to be with and blah blah blah, but there's not a whole lot of like actual romance in the book. There's not a whole lot of like, you know, there's no sex, there's no like kissing, like no one kisses throughout the book. There's nothing like that, and I really appreciate that because a lot of what I've been reading recently has been a lot of romance stuff, a lot of like adult contemporary romance, and I wanted something just really heavy fantasy, and this delivered, and it did not let me down at all. My goal for today, which you guys will see in next week's vlog, is to read the entirety of this book because I want to know what's happening, and the 3rd one will be here soon, and I need to read it before I give it to my friend, because I told somebody that I requested the 3rd one basically for them, and then decided to finally sit down to read the series now that all 3 of them are out, because it is just a trilogy. So I want to be able to finish this book so that when the 3rd one comes I can read it in a couple of days and then pass it along to them, and then order my series. So yeah, that is basically all that happened this week. Like I said, it is a weekend reading vlog. It has been a weekend, let me tell you. I'm very tired. Saturday was really hard for me. Saturday was a very, I don't often get like super angry, but I was very, very, very angry on Saturday, which is why you didn't see any of my face. I just wanted to calm down after work. So when I came home, I just relaxed and just basically just went to bed that night. But I hope you guys liked this vlog. I hope you had a good weekend. It's been nice vlogging again and vlogging without pressure. I've been seeing, I don't know, people feeling really insecure again online, and I just had to like remove myself from the conversation because I think we all kind of struggle with feeling insecure. I think like even in your day-to-day life, like you're gonna feel insecure, whether it be with like friends or family, like their achievements, with your coworkers, whatever it may be. But I think online it's a lot harder because you just are constantly bombarded with like what other people are doing, and it's not just like one close friend and like their achievement. It's like all these people that you know that are basically doing the same thing that you're doing, and getting success or being popular. And I get where people are coming from and why it is upsetting, but I'm trying to just, you know, mind my own business because it doesn't involve me, basically, and just focus on my own shit, basically. Oh, I didn't read any more of Middle Game by Sean and McGuire. I really want to finish it because I do like it, but I really want to read this book, which is why I'm going to try to read this book today and then finish Middle Game next week. So you'll see all of that hopefully in next week's vlog and in the weekly wrap-up thing that I do. But I'm rambling. I'm gonna get off here and get this vlog up for you guys. If you guys are seeing this, this is exactly what I look like today. This is exactly where I'm going to be today. And this is exactly the book that I'm going to be reading today. But I love you guys a lot, and I will see you in next week's vlog.